Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public informational, nonpartisan service program designed to get acquainted with the candidates vying for the 2022 primary races for City of Salem Mayor, Salem City Council, Marion County Commissioners, and Polk County Commissioners. These interviews come to you through the producers as Capital Community Media, collaboration on questions and moderators from the Association of University of Women, Salem City Club, League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties, and neighborhood associations. All candidates for these races were invited, and all but two chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening statement addressing their background and qualifications for the office, as well as a 2-minute closing statement addressing their goals for the office if elected. My name is Toma Gadu, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties. And I'd like to introduce to you Chane Griggs, who is running for mayor of the city of Salem. Welcome, candidate Griggs. We look forward to your opening statement.
Thank you very much. And I thank you all for putting on this opportunity. My name, as we just said, is Chane Griggs, and I am running for mayor of Salem. I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to be our city's leader based on my extensive experience serving on many city commissions and boards, serving on some nonprofit boards, and my past professional experience as assistant director for the Department of Corrections. I moved to Salem in 1977, and shortly after that, I followed in the footsteps of my parents, who always taught me to give back to the community that I love. I've served on various boards such as Deepwood and Salem Art Association, but then I turned my focus more on serving on city committees such as the Historic Landmarks Committee, the Salem Parks and Rec Advisory Board, Salem Public Arts Committee, the Budget Committee, and currently I am president of the Salem Planning Commission. I also served on the Climate Action Plan Task Force and the Our Salem Task Force this past few years. In addition to my city involvement, I'm also the vice president for the Capital Planning Commission and president of the Rotary Club of Salem. In my work with the Department of Corrections, I was responsible for much of the reformative work for the 14 prisons across our state, such as workforce training, education, religious services. The research unit was also under my supervision, and we were charged with financially making great decisions on funding programs and treatments that actually worked, that showed us that they worked. I've worked outside the home most of my adult life. My husband, Jim, and I have raised 5 children. We have 12 grandchildren, and I feel fortunate that at least one of my 5 children has decided to stay in Salem. Salem's been a wonderful community for our family, and I look forward to being the catalyst to address our issues and move our city forward.
Thank you for that background information. Now let's turn to our questions. Our first question is, what is your experience in working with diverse groups? What could be done to create a broader base city planning and decision-making situation?
I'm in my job with the Department of Corrections, as you can assume, many of our adults in custodies were from different backgrounds. So I've worked in that capacity. But most recently, I'm really proud of our campaign because we are making an outreach into communities that normally don't have a voice at the table. My campaign manager is Jonathan Castro. We've got different groups in town. We had the first all Hispanic Spanish-speaking kickoff event a couple of weeks ago where I actually entertained them with my Spanish. And we had quite a few people that registered to vote that night. So I'm making concerted efforts to not only reach the Latino population, but the Black population in Salem, anybody that I can encourage to be at the table that's normally not there. Because I think in order for our city to move forward on many of the issues that we face, it's not going to be one segment of our population that's going to make a sustainable decision. It's going to be from across Salem.
And getting to the second part of that question, do you have any specific ideas about a broader based city planning and decision-making situation that you'd like to bring to office?
Well, I would like to start with actually, I'm stealing this straight from Kaiser, but they do a wonderful job getting young residents involved in politics and in civics, so that when they become my age or your age, they're able and confident to serve in these positions. So I would love to start a city council representative with 2 youth from our high school level and then work up. I expect that when we have issues at the table and I have the opportunity as mayor to appoint people to commissions or to work groups, I will look across the city to make sure that not everybody at the table looks like me.
Thank you for that. Let's turn to what's happening in our downtown area. We've seen an increase in the number of empty downtown offices and buildings in recent years. How do we create a vibrant and livable downtown for businesses and our citizens?
First of all, I would love to tip my hat, if I was wearing one, to the businesses that have chosen to stay downtown and weather the course. That it would have been very easy for them to fold up and go elsewhere. I actually see it as more of a half glass full. I see a lot more activity downtown, but to the point that you're trying to convey, we really need to address the homeless issue and ensure that we are moving that forward in a positive direction for those who are homeless and houseless, while at the same time ensuring that our downtown is safe for everyone. I remember sending my children on a chariot bus to go downtown on a Saturday and go shopping when they were in middle school. And I just can't even fathom doing that now. So we need to create a safe downtown, continue to encourage new development and businesses to support that activity downtown.
Thank you. What do you see as the role of the city in addressing employment issues? How do we create jobs that address both a declining economy and green jobs issues?
Oh, I think we have to step up on that as our community. I think we are a very attractive community and a magnet for some of these businesses like Salem Health and Safe and a lot of the larger industries, Garment. We have our park system. We have a wonderful arts community, and I think marketing that even better. I think Travel Salem, and under Angie's direction, is doing a wonderful job, continuing to show what we have. We basically have a central park right downtown that's accessible for 30 plus miles. So I think promoting what we have in our region that's attractive will help with that. I don't think Salem Health is having a difficult time attracting people to come work for them as doctors. Nor do I think Garmin is, or any of these large industries, because they do see Salem as a beautiful gym, an hour from the coast, an hour from the mountains, an hour to Portland if you choose to go there. So I think we continue to enhance the amenities that we have, and I think that will speak for itself.
What work is being done to assist in the refugee situation locally and connect with it globally?
Well, I'll give you one example that I know of the Rotary clubs, which I'm part of. We actually joined forces with some other clubs in our area and with Portland, and we ended up within 6 days raising $150,000 that went to a Rotary club on the border of Poland and Ukraine. That's one example. I know that the church community is banding together to do that. I don't know, honestly, what the city is doing under their auspices, other than encouraging and supporting those efforts that are being taken care of by nonprofits and churches.
Thank you for that. What are the plans for presenting the climate change task force plan to the public? How would you like to see it move forward for adoption?
Currently, I believe the proposed plan will be in front of City Council for taking some parts of it. It is a vast document. It took us 2 years to create that document with stakeholders, a large number of stakeholders. So my guess is, if I had a crystal ball, is that it will be staged in the low-hanging fruit, the little bit higher, and the more long-term goals. There are a couple of examples that I'm excited about. One example is the city fleet being electrified, so as vehicles come off on a rotational basis to be replaced, that they be replaced by electric vehicles. I think that's a wonderful approach that the city can take. I don't have the facts to know if that is even doable, for example, an ambulance or a fire engine that has to rely on a certain speed to get to the point that they need to get. Another example is requiring electric charging stations in new construction. I think that's a wonderful idea, and the home builders are good with that. So most of the items in the low-hanging fruit are going to be your more incentive-based, education-based. How do we get information to people all across Salem on things that they can do individually and collectively to make a difference in our climate action?
Thank you for that. What do you see as the process for obtaining grants for mobile crisis intervention programs, such as Cahoots in Eugene, to assist the police? And what governmental entities approve such resources for programs?
So one example that's a partnership with Marion County is the Mobile Crisis Unit. Now, this is a little bit different than the Cahoots, but I'll come back to your original question. Mm-hmm. The Mobile Crisis Unit is funded in part by Marion County. There are 4 mobile crisis units for Marion County. Salem has 2. I would like to see more. That is staffed with a behavioral health specialist from Marion County's payroll. And then we accompany that with a uniformed police officer to ensure that the situation is safe. The behavioral health person has that first contact. The Cahoots model is similar to one that they're proposing up in Portland, the Portland response team. They did that as a trial in just one part of Portland. I forget the part. They've just made the decision to go citywide. And in that situation, and in Cahoots, there are no uniformed police officers. I would be okay with that if you can ensure that when that call comes to whoever's the dispatcher, that they can clearly identify how dangerous that situation is. Because the last thing I would want to do is to put a behavioral health specialist in an environment where they are in danger. So that's my question. I don't have the information yet. I would get it before I would be in favor of that. I don't think it's something that should be funded out of the police budget, although they would benefit from fewer calls, I believe. But it's more aligned with how do we fund other outreach efforts.
Thank you for that. Let's turn to homelessness in our city. What are the options for housing homeless in our city? And how do we balance plans for the city's micro-shelter villages with concerns in neighborhoods?
Very good question. And that's the one topic everybody says, do something about the homeless issue. To start with, the homeless issue is not one population. There are so many subsets of that population. So the easiest, what I would call low-hanging fruit, are those who are on hard times, wanting help, willing to get treatment. And the UGM is a wonderful spot for them. That's called a high barrier shelter. The low barrier shelters, that's what we need more of. Those would be suitable for somebody who's not ready yet to make that decision to not do drugs or alcohol. They could have a co-occurring disorder, meaning they have that drug issue plus a mental health issue. The mobile, this micro shelters are a good approach from what we can see so far. It's so new, it's hard to get good data, finite data. But the 2 that we have, the one for the women and children is working really well. They have a plus 60% success rate of women moving out into more transitional housing. I fully am supportive of the micro shelters. I do not want them sited in neighborhoods, nor do I want them sited downtown. There should be some opportunities, and we can look at where those are to be more on the periphery of town and not taking over our parks and our neighborhoods where our children play. And then we get to the question you haven't asked yet, but I'll just jump right into it. The sit-lie ordinance. We do have that on the books. We are not able to enforce that based on a Ninth Circuit Court opinion, which states that you cannot enforce that unless you've got low barrier shelter beds. Makes perfectly good sense. You have to have some place that a person can be safe. So I think the conversation then goes to how can we site more micro shelters in appropriate places and have some of those beds in reserve so that we can truly offer to somebody in need a place for shelter and food and treatment. I would encourage people to look at Bud Clark's. He was the former mayor of Portland. Whoop, whoop, Bud had a 12-point homeless plan in 1988. One of his tenets, 12 tenets, was that there needs to be accountability to the degree that the individual is capable. So it could be the accountability requirement is you agree to seek treatment, or you agree to do some kind of programming. It doesn't have to be you have to get a job right away. So, all of it together, a simple answer is there is no simple answer. And it's not going to be a solution that comes from one person or a city council. It's going to be a community-wide discussion and effort on what's the best way to move us forward.
Thank you for that. Let's get a little back to climate change a little bit. And you kind of touched on a few of these, I think, but you might have other ideas. What proposals do you have for investing federal funds allocated for non-fuel vehicles and expanding the diversity of our public transportation?
Great. Well, the Chariots, our bus system is already well on their way to doing that. So I think it's a combination of finding those grant dollars to supplement and expand that. And then also looking at other modes of transportation. So we need to ensure that our infrastructure is healthy for bikes, for pedestrians. I think we do a good job. I would like us to do a great job. So not reliant just on non-fueled vehicles, but also on alternative modes of transportation and more routes for Chariots, so that people feel confident that they can take a bus to work and get home after work without waiting a very long time.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Candidate Griggs, it's now your opportunity to share your 2-minute closing statement about your goals for the office if you're elected.
Thank you. As I've pointed out, I didn't explicitly say it, but I am running because some things in Salem just are not working. And I don't think we can afford to continue doing business as usual. We need Salem to be a better version of itself, and I'm equipped to lead that change. We look at our homeless or our houseless issue, and although we've thrown millions of dollars to that, over 7 million last year, the problem doesn't seem to be getting significantly better. In my former role as assistant director for the Department of Corrections, I saw firsthand that evidence-based treatment coupled with a level of accountability can work. A key component of addressing the homeless issue is a transparent, effective, and accountable public safety system that should be equitable and fair to all communities. I'm confident that under the leadership of Chief Womack, that our children and our families and our businesses will be safe in Salem. I'm also proud to let you know that I've got the endorsement not only of the fire union, but also the police union. And I will work carefully with them to ensure that they have the resources to keep us safe, while at the same time protecting their safety as well. Another issue facing our community is that we're running out of buildable land within the UGB, the urban growth boundary. We are going to grow by 60,000 in the next 14 years, and it's our city's responsibility to ensure that we have adequate housing supply for those individuals. I do not think that we can have that paradigm that Salem is no place for growth. There are too many young people, there are too many of our grandparents and parents that want to retire and live in Salem too. So let me end by saying, although there are a lot of problems to solve, I'm very excited about Salem. I'm optimistic about our downtown. I see the Willamette Town Center vibrant, and everywhere you look across the city, you'll see new businesses. So I'm confident that my work with the city and my past background with the state puts me in a good position to lead our city. I'll end with that.
Thank you, Chane Griggs, for our interview today and for sharing all your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties for the design and preparation of the program, and to AAUW and Salem City Club for help with the question development and providing moderators. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, be sure to visit vote411.org. You have until April 26th to register to vote or make any changes in your voter registration. Ballots will be mailed out on April 27th, and according to a new law, will be accepted if postmarked on or before May 17th. Elections matter. Remember to vote because your vote counts.